Hi, welcome to Story Featured. Today I'll be sharing and spoiling a horror mystery drama, Fear Street. In the town of Shadyside, bookstore employee Heather Watkins is closing her store at the mall. She gets a call from her friend Ryan Torres, who shows up to surprise her at the mall. Things go dark and silent, and Heather finds herself chased by a figure wearing a hood and a skull mask. She tries to fight him and runs through the mall. She finds a few other people are also slashed to death. The killer finally corners her in the middle of the mall and stabs her to death. He takes off his mask to reveal himself as Ryan, looking possessed, and continues to attempt to stab Heather until he is gunned down by Sheriff Nick Good. The credits feature news and clippings of all the murders that have plagued Shadyside for decades, with many believing the city was home to psychopaths, though urban legend claimed there's a witch named Sarah Fair involved in the whole thing. Elsewhere in Shadyside is Tina Johnson, who lives with her nerdy younger brother Josh. On TV, a news reporter is interviewing Sheriff Good from the mall incident site. Good tells her that 7 other people were declared dead. Josh in his room chatting with someone online about the massacre at the mall last night. The anonymous person Josh is chatting with tells Josh the witch came back for revenge again. Josh tells Dina about the massacre at the mall last night. He says he knows something that media don't want to talk about. Dina tells him to get out of his internet fantasy nerdland, to which he replies, "Stop obsessing about her ex-lesbian girlfriend Sam." They go to school together and Dina notices tributes in Heather's locker. She goes to the bathroom and finds her friends Kate and Simon, along with a spray-painted message related to Sarah Fierce's curse. Kate offers Dina some drugs as she secretly sells pills, but Dina refuses. That night, a candlelit vigil is held for the mall's murder victims, accompanied by students from the rival town of Sunnyvale. Dina is upset to see her ex-girlfriend Samantha Fraser with a guy Peter, who groped her. The girls confront each other in private, with Dina getting upset that Sam chose to live with her mother in Sunnyvale after her parents' divorce, especially as her mother doesn't like Dina due to their relationship. During the vigil, Peter makes snide remarks about how there is always a tragedy going on in Shadyside, leading to a fight between students at both schools. On the bus ride home, Peter, accompanied by Sam and one of his friends, chases after Shadyside bus to pelt them with junk. Dina opens the emergency exit to throw an ice cooler at the car until her nose starts to bleed. She drops the cooler on the car, causing Peter to crash nearby in the woods. Sam gets out injured and then sees flashes of some kind of satanic ritual. She is later taken to the hospital. All the students then claim that the car crash was just an accident to prevent anyone from getting in trouble. The next night, Dina tries to call Sam's hospital room, but her mother refuses to let Dina talk to her. She hears a ringing at the door and looks across the street to see the same skull mask figure standing outside, believing it to be Peter playing a prank. Meanwhile, Kate and Simon are taking care of two girls when they also seem to find skull mask. Kate leaves the girls with a neighbor for safety. Dina goes to Kate and claims it's Peter, so they go to the hospital to confront Sam and tell her to call Peter off. Sam claims that Peter was there all night, which leads to Dina and Sam arguing before Peter is impaled by Skull Mask Killer. Killer chases them, but they manage to hide while he kills two other hospital staff. They try to fight the killer while the killer's mask come off. It's Ryan, the same guy who got shot dead at the mall. The teens flee the hospital. The group tries to report the attack to Sheriff Good about the killer Ryan, but he thinks it's just another prank as they've been getting calls about a copycat killer all weekend. Dina manages to grab an officer's gun from him before leaving. Outside, Simon has an encounter with a young woman, Ruby Lane. She is singing an old tune. Simon approaches her and is slashed with a razor. Ruby tries to attack Simon until Dina shoots Ruby, but it doesn't kill her and she heals herself. They run back to the house where Josh recognizes her as Ruby Lane because he's done his research on every murder in Shadyside. Ruby had killed her boyfriend, friends, and herself decades earlier. He also has information about other Shadyside killers such as killer at Camp Nightwing, a milkman who killed housewives, a deformed boy who murdered his brothers, and a grifter killing random people in town. All of this connects to Sarah Fier, who was hanged for witchcraft back in 1666, but cut off her cursed hand and left it in town to go beyond the grave and claim the victims. The group goes to the crash site, where they discover it's Sarah Fier's grave. Sam touched the grave and saw visions, which is why they are facing the spirits of those previously possessed by Sarah. They try to bury Sarah's bone, only to be chased by the Camp Nightwing killer. It turns out that since Sam earlier cupped blood on Simon's shirt, they are drawn to them because of Sarah's blood. The teens then go to school where they change clothes. Dina and Sam briefly hook up again, leading to sloppy kisses and touching each other. The teens then conspire to trap the spirits before Ruby Skull Mask and Camp Nightwing Killer make their returns. The killers are searching for Sam only. Teens trap them in a room set to explode, and the room explodes, apparently burning the killers to death. Unfortunately, the killers start to regenerate, forcing the teens to run again. The group realizes that the killers want Sam, and from Josh's clippings, he learns that there was a survivor of the Camp Nightwing murders named C. Berman, who apparently had been dead for 2 minutes before being revived, and this allowed her to escape the murders. The teens try to call her, but they only answer her answering machine. They then go to a supermarket where they plan to have Sam die from Kate's drug overdose before reviving her. The three killers soon appear, with Dina trying to help Sam while the other three run. Sam throws up the pills before they take effect. Skull Mask attacks Kate and stabs her in the gut before sticking her head in a bread cutter, while Camp Nightwing killer drives an axe into Simon's skull. Just before the killer can catch the rest of them, Dina drowns Sam in a tank, causing the killers to disappear. Dina and Josh shove up EpiPens into Sam's body until she finally wakes up. The survivors report to Sheriff Good, who thinks Kate and Simon are behind the murders, but Dina, Josh, and Sam defend them as friends. When Sam's mother picks her up, Sam kisses Dina definitely in front of her mother and plans to continue the relationship. Dina and Sam stay home that night. Dina goes to answer the phone and hears C. Berman's voice. She is surprised to learn that Dina is alive because according to Berman there is no stopping the witch. Dina turns around to find now possessed Sam having stabbed her. After a struggle, Dina subdues Sam and ties her up while Josh runs back upstairs. Dina then looks at Sam and vows to bring her back while Sam roars at her. This is the first part of the film. We'll share the second part soon. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe the channel for more videos like this.